So we'll pick up the action here at the start of the fourth quarter.
Rhinebeck retains possession.
Charlie, who do we got in the ball game now for Hastings?
We got pretty much the regulars. You got George Skrelja, Mike Segru, Jimmy Segru, Simon Skrelja, and Danny Blake. They all showed some nice defense there.
All right, so I think that's going to be the starting lineup going forward. Ed Bash right now is starting at center, but that's because, as we mentioned, George's been hurt all year long. But now that he's back, I think he's going to start at center from now on, as Hastings gets tuned up for the playoffs in the county center possibly. You can never take anything for granted. I mean, I know Hastings is 13-2, on their way to being 14-2. They have they have 4 games. They have 4 games left after tonight. They have Gould, who they pounded out 74-48 victory. Then KO is next up. It'll be their first game versus KO. KO's not in their league, same conference, Class C, but not in the same league as them. And then they have the showdown with Valhalla coming up. So if Hastings can beat Valhalla, they'll win the league and possibly get a number 2 seed.
Skrelja lays it in off the steal.
Right now, Blindbrook is undefeated, so if they maintain their undefeated status, there's no doubt they'll get the number 1 seed in Class C. And if Hastings can go through the regular season with only the 2 losses, you have to expect them to be the number 2 seed going in. That number 2 seed gets a bye that goes with it. You win 1, you're in the county center. And I think that's what every high school basketball team strives for, is those games in the county center. I mean, I know when I played there, it was phenomenal. It was amazing playing in front of 4,000 people in a basketball game. It's a tremendous thing to experience in high school.
I think that's a dream of every high school athlete, just to play in front of a large group of people. Especially the atmosphere and the tradition of the county center.
That's what it is. I think, it's definitely the atmosphere, the tradition. You have people from all over the county coming to watch you play. I mean, for years after going to the county center, right, all the basketball junkies coming up. Oh, you play for Hastings? You play? I saw you guys play. I saw you guys play. So it's a great experience to have. It's a nice memory to have too. Regulars check out of the ball game now.
Blake from the line hits his first one. Well, that's the only spot the Jackets have struggled tonight. They're 2 of 6 from the line. But when you play like they do, you don't need those critical points.
Well, that might, something like that might come back to haunt them. I think the most important thing is, though, they've only been to the line 6 times. There hasn't been a lot of fouls called in this game, and a game when you're winning 50-24, there really shouldn't be a lot of fouls called.
Rhinebeck breaks out. Here's On, lays that one in, and he's got 5 points on the evening.
I think it's very interesting, Coach Carlucci for Rhinebeck. He's got a star, Trifletti, on the bench, sitting next to him with the Hastings second team. And I mean, this would be a perfect opportunity for Trifletti to get some points, rack up, his scoring total. But Carlucci understands the bigger picture, and he doesn't have Trifletti in there for meaningless points. I got to respect that out of Coach Carlucci.
Hahn can't connect there. Hastings grabs the rebound.
Double dribble called on George. Good call by the official. I think George was thinking about maybe he wanted to pass the ball first before he actually put the ball back down on the floor. So a good call. And some more substitutions in the game. Joey Flattery, Richie Salinaro, Chris Skrelja, Colin Powers, and Josh Snyder in the ball game for Hastings.
Danny Blake takes a seat. He has a season high tonight, 21 points. comes away with it. It's Chris Skrelja, and I'll slow it down. Powers, now it's Salinero. There's Joe Flaherty. Even the second team has good ball movement.
I mean, that's what you want. You want ball movement out of your offense. You want cutters flashing to the basket. You want to try and pound it inside for a 5-foot jump shot like Josh Schneider just took. I mean, that's a classic offense.
Strong move by the sophomore.
Well, Josh has started a bunch of ball games. He was a starter earlier in the year. You know, he's seasoned at this point to know, like, he's probably the most experienced player that Hastings has on the floor right now. He's probably played the most minutes this year out of anybody that's out there now.
Just over 4 minutes to go, 4:09 to be exact. Jackets up by 25. Not 25, I'm doing the math wrong. 29.
Of course, I had to get a shot of that scoreboard just to embarrass you because you are an engineering major. So
soon to be business.
No.
No.
No. Scare me. All that hard work. Berger family is very proud of you. Fighting your way through Manhattan, walking uphill to school both ways while it's snowing. Right?
Shouldn't they be?
Oh, of course. You're a shining example of what's good about American youth.
Skrelja for 3, and he connects! Chris Skrelja. And now all the Skreljas are on board. Ichiro couldn't handle that pass.
Who's Skrelja? Is that are those Chris's first varsity points? See that? We have it on H2H TV. Chris Skrelja's first varsity points in what I am sure is going to be a long career on the varsity for Mr. Skrelja.
Here's Salinero for 3. Won't go. Skrelja tries to grab the rebound, but Reinach gets it.
Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically to get 1,000 points in your career, considering teams usually play about 20 games a season, if you play on the varsity your freshman year, you can average 12.5 points a game, right? That'd be 250 points in a season.
Yeah, you'll
for
hit
20
1,000.
season. You'll get 1,000. So, I mean, I know, Chris is coming up late in the year, but that would probably be, so you'd have to average 18.5 for 3 years.
About that.
So, Chris comes up, he averages 18 points as a sophomore. Without an injury, he's got a legitimate shot at scoring 1,000 points.
Now, I know George averaged 18 points as a sophomore. It's going to be tough for him to reach that after this year, but he would have been on pace.
Yeah, definitely on pace. But you know what? I mean, he's the type of player where next year, his senior year, he could easily average 25, 30 a game. He's that kind of player. If that's the case, then he might be able to get to 1,000. But it is very rare for a high school basketball player to get to 1,000 points simply because of the number of games. You're only
Especially if you miss half a season.
Well, you're only playing 20 games, so most players play 2 years of varsity. It's 40 games. Even if you average 20 points a game,
you're at 800.
Your whole career, you're 800. You're still a long way away. Most of the players that do are 3 or 4 year varsity players that are averaging, 12, 13, 20 points a game.
Nice grab by Schneider. Here's Powers with the strong move. Schneider for 2, can't hit. And Ichiro grabs the rebound.
It is Ichiro. That really is Ichiro. We're not talking about Suzuki, the reigning American League Rookie of the Year. And MVP, right?
Yep.
Reigning AL MVP and Rookie of the Year, although I didn't think he should have been MVP. But...
Or a rookie.
Well, you know what, though? The way the rules are written, he was a rookie only because he'd never played in the major leagues before. Granted, he played 9 years of the highest caliber baseball in Japan, so. But according to the rules, it's not, first-year professional player, it's first-year major league player. And he had never played in the major leagues before. Speaking of rules that are written up correctly, how about that rule that let the Patriots get into the Super Bowl? Oh, what a horrible rule that was.
It's a great job by the refs because according to the rule book, they did make the right call.
According to the rule, they absolutely made the right call.
But you go into it, he's clearly tucking it into his body, no intent to throw the ball. And let's say they do rule it an incomplete pass, it's intentional grounding. He's standing right there in the middle of the pocket.
Well, I think the reason, good point. That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. If it's an incomplete pass, why is it intentional grounding? That's an excellent point, Charles.
Anyway, that's a game that'll go down in NFL history.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
On top of that controversial call, an incredible game played in the snow.
Well, yeah, you know what, though? I tell you what, for an AFC playoff game, I would have much rather the better conditions. For a regular season game, you can't get better than that. How awesome is that? Playing in 2 feet of snow. That's awesome. As Chris Scralgia scores his 4th and 5th varsity points.
On the same shot.
Yeah, pretty good.
Here's Marciano. Shot won't go, and Hastings grabs the rebound.
That'll almost do it for so far.
Yeah, well, 40 seconds to go here in the game. Hastings up by 31. Screlja, no good.
Don't worry, Chris. You can always say that was a pass to Joey. Don't worry about it. Yeah, good pass. Looking for his assist.
So Joe Flaherty goes to the line. Flaherty, an extremely talented athlete, plays baseball, golf, ice hockey.
Yeah, he comes from an athletic family.
I know, it's funny. His dad was a professional golfer, so I play ice hockey with his father also. So I wanted to make a deal with his dad that he could give me some golf tips. I'll give him some ice hockey tips. Turns out he's better at ice hockey than me, too.
Charlie, you set yourself up. That's not too hard. Folks, I think hell is just frozen over. I've gotten Charlie speechless. So with 28 seconds to go in the ball game, Hastings with a commanding 62-29 lead. The only thing left is to see if they can hold them under 30. What's the least amount of points Hastings has given up so far this year, Charlie?
So far, it's 40 points on the button, and it doesn't look like Rhineck will get that.
I don't think Rhineck will get it. So the best defensive performance of the year for Hastings so far. And it can't come as a better time as they're trying to tune up for the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Keith, earlier in the year, they had the second most convincing victory of the year against Rhineck. Now this is the most convincing. And that's the game as he hits a shot at the buzzer. I don't think he'll count.
And I tell you what, Hastings came into the ball game averaging 65.3 points a game, and they put up 62 tonight. So an average game offensively for Hastings, but a superb defensive game for the Yellow Jackets as they come away with the victory, 62-29.
Oh, just an outstanding all-around performance. They out-talented Rhineck. Outplayed them, out-talented them. So now they move to 14-2 on this year. And they're rolling going into the playoffs. If they can keep this going, they're riding a 12-game win streak now.
So that'll just about do it for tonight's ball game. Unless you want to interview who's going to be in the game.
Take it off this
I guess we got to go with Dan Blake.
22 points on the evening, a season high.
Dan Blake had 22 points, so that's a season high for him. He'd be player of the game if... well, it looks like they all ran into the locker room, so we won't have an interview with him. But that'll do it here. You want to go interview? Hold on, we're going to go grab Dan for an interview for the player of the game. So Charlie.